Have you ever reached for a handful of nuts thinking, it's just a healthy snack? Maybe you enjoy a spoonful of peanut butter in the afternoon, or toss cashews into your salad, or sprinkle pine nuts over your favorite pasta. But what if I told you some of those seemingly innocent choices might be slowly draining your strength, clouding your memory, and making every step you take feel just a little heavier? Hi friends, welcome back to the Senior Health Guide. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Let me ask, have your legs been feeling weaker lately? Have stairs become more challenging? Has your memory felt foggy at times? If so, you are not alone. And it might not just be aging. It might be what's on your plate. In today's story-driven video, we're going to gently uncover 3 common nuts that may be harming your bones, your circulation, and even your brain, especially for those of us over 60. But don't worry, we're not just here to scare you. We'll also explore 3 powerful healing nuts that science now shows can actually help restore energy, strengthen your muscles, and sharpen your memory. I'll walk you through real stories of folks just like you and me who made small but powerful changes to their snack habits and saw big improvements in their mobility, blood pressure, mental clarity, and even sleep. We'll look at what makes peanuts dangerous for your circulation, how cashews may be secretly stealing calcium from your bones, why pine nuts could be interfering with your medication, and then we'll celebrate the beauty of almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, tiny but mighty foods that can truly support a longer, stronger, more independent life. This isn't about trends or fad diets. This is about getting the truth, honoring your body, and taking small steps toward a healthier, freer version of yourself. So, I invite you, grab a cup of tea, settle in comfortably, and stay with me until the very end. I promise what you learn today could make every future step a little steadier, every moment a little clearer. And if you've ever felt confused by all the conflicting nutrition advice out there, type yes in the comments. If not, type no either way. I read every message and love hearing from you. Ready to begin this journey together? Let's dive in and discover the truth about the nuts that might be hurting us and the ones that could just save our strength. Number 1, peanuts, the silent demolisher of power. Have you ever grabbed a handful of peanuts thinking it was a smart, healthy snack? Something simple and satisfying, as you flipped on the news or chatted with the grandkids? For years, many of us did. We trusted the peanut made it part of our routines. But for seniors, this innocent nut might be quietly working against your strength, your memory, and even your independence. Let's start in Clearwater, Florida, a warm and breezy town where 72-year-old Ronald enjoys baseball games and gardening. He has a habit, one that's lasted decades: roasted peanuts during the 7th inning stretch. A tradition passed down, one that felt like home. But lately, Ronald has noticed something strange. His legs feel weaker. His morning walks, once brisk and joyful, now require more effort. And when his doctor adjusted his blood thinner, a small cut bled longer than expected. That's when the real story began to unfold. Peanuts, for all their popularity, are not true nuts. They're legumes. Grown underground, they're far more vulnerable to mold contamination than tree nuts. The most dangerous of these molds, aflatoxins. These toxic compounds, well documented in studies by the CDC and NIH, accumulate in improperly stored peanuts and peanut-based products. In small amounts, your younger body may have handled them without a hitch. But after 60, your liver's detox systems slow down. And aflatoxins, they don't forgive. They've been linked to liver damage, immune suppression, even increased cancer risk. But the danger doesn't stop at toxins. Peanuts also contribute to what scientists call systemic inflammation. They're overloaded with omega-6 fatty acids, and when not balanced with omega-3s, they fan the flame of chronic inflammation, particularly in joints, blood vessels, and muscles. For Ronald, that meant stiffer knees and slower steps. He was unknowingly fueling the very decline he was trying to fight. There's more. Many of us as we age are prescribed blood thinners, warfarin, aspirin, Plavix. Peanuts contain vitamin K, which can interfere with these medications. Ronald didn't know that his daily snack was reducing the effectiveness of his prescription. The day he experienced prolonged bleeding from a small gardening injury was no coincidence. And peanut butter. Don't be fooled. Most commercial brands are loaded with added sugars, hydrogenated oils, and sodium. 3 silent contributors to heart disease, high blood pressure, and cognitive fog. Ronald thought he was making a healthier swap when he gave up cookies for peanut butter. But with every teaspoon, he was inviting an inflammation, vascular strain, and mental fatigue. The worst part. The damage wasn't loud, it was gradual. A little less balance here, a little more stiffness there. Missed names. Longer naps. And just like that, the foundation of his independence was under siege. So what did Ronald do? He didn't panic. He didn't throw out all snacks. He learned. He listened. And slowly he shifted. He chose almonds rich in magnesium and bone-strengthening calcium. He added walnuts packed with omega-3s for brain and heart. His doctor adjusted his diet, and within weeks, Ronald's balance improved. His blood pressure stabilized. The fog began to lift. This isn't a story meant to scare. It's a reminder what you reach for in your pantry matters, especially after 60. Not all foods age with you. Some hold you back. So now, we ask if peanuts can erode strength so quietly. What about the nuts that look safe but may be stealing your calcium? Let's talk about cashews, the robber of calcium, in the next chapter. Number 2, cashews, the robber of calcium. Picture this. It's a warm afternoon in Scottsdale, Arizona. The sun is high, and 68-year-old Margaret is preparing her usual midday smoothie, a blend of frozen bananas, oat milk, and a heaping spoon of cashew butter. Smooth, creamy, healthy, or so she thinks. Margaret switched to cashew butter as part of her plant-based lifestyle. It felt like a smart move. But recently, she's been noticing some alarming changes. She feels more fragile. A minor stumble last month led to a wrist fracture, and her doctor mentioned something about bone density loss. At first, Margaret was stunned. She walks, eats clean, avoids processed foods. How could her bones be weakening? The answer might be swirling right inside her blender. Cashews, though rich in taste and texture, carry a hidden threat for seniors' oxalates. These naturally occurring compounds bind to calcium inside your digestive tract, forming crystals that your body cannot absorb. Over time, this not only robs your bones of the calcium they need, but can also contribute to painful kidney stones. Think of oxalates like microscopic thieves. You eat a food rich in calcium, hoping to nourish your skeleton, but if you combine it with cashews, those nutrients are locked away, excreted, instead of absorbed. Margaret's story is not unique. For seniors already vulnerable to osteoporosis or osteopenia, oxalate-heavy foods like cashews can silently accelerate bone loss. Every bite chips away at your foundation. And that's not all. Cashews have a surprisingly high carbohydrate content for a nut. This means they can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar, especially risky for seniors managing prediabetes or diabetes. Those blood sugar surges over time damage the fine capillaries in your legs and feet. The result? Numbness, tingling, poor wound healing, and in severe cases, infections or amputations. Margaret, who had been feeling occasional foot tingling, didn't connect the dots until her doctor asked about her diet. Those healthy spoonfuls of cashew butter were doing more harm than good, and the risk doesn't end there. Oxalates, once inside the kidneys, can crystallize, forming stones that obstruct urine flow, cause severe pain, and even lead to infection. Seniors are already at a higher risk due to reduced kidney function and hydration challenges. Cashews increase that load. There's also the matter of texture. Cashews are smooth but dense. For seniors with dry mouth, decreased saliva, or dental issues, they pose a legitimate choking risk. A moment of distraction can turn a snack into an emergency. So what did Margaret do? She didn't eliminate all nuts. She just got smarter. She swapped cashew butter for almond butter, lower in oxalates and higher in calcium. She used sunflower seeds in her smoothies for creaminess without the risk. And she learned to rotate her nut choices instead of relying on one. Today, her bones are stable, her blood sugar more predictable, and her energy back. Cashews may be creamy and convenient, but for many seniors, they're not the harmless treat they appear to be. When your bones, kidneys, and circulation are already under pressure, you can't afford to feed the enemy. So we ask, if cashews rob your skeleton from the inside out, what about a nut so small it seems harmless, but may interfere with your very medication? Let's talk about pine nuts, the disruptor of brain and legs, in the next chapter. Number 3, pine nuts, the disruptor of brain and legs. At first glance, pine nuts seem harmless, small, smooth, and tucked neatly into your favorite salad, or blended in a beautiful green pesto. But sometimes the most delicate things can hide the deepest dangers. Take Florence, a 75-year-old retired librarian in Albany, New York. She's sharp, articulate, and fiercely independent. Every Tuesday, she hosts a book club at her apartment. She makes fresh pesto herself, a proud family recipe with basil, olive oil, parmesan, and pine nuts. But over the last few months, Florence has felt off. Her taste changed. Coffee tasted metallic. Her favorite chicken soup was suddenly bitter. And she'd been more forgetful, misplacing her reading glasses, pausing during sentences to recall simple words. Then came the fall. Nothing dramatic, just a slip on the carpet. But it shook her confidence. Her daughter, worried, brought her to the doctor. Labs came back fine. Blood pressure stable. Medications unchanged. Diet. That's when Florence mentioned pine nuts. Few people know this, but pine nuts can cause a rare condition called pine mouth syndrome. Within a day or two of eating pine nuts, some people develop a persistent, metallic or bitter taste in their mouth, especially when eating other foods. It can last days, even weeks. For seniors, this disrupts appetite. And when nutrition declines, so does muscle mass, energy, and mood. Florence had unknowingly been eating less and less, not because she wasn't hungry, but because nothing tasted right. But taste wasn't the only concern. Pine nuts can interfere with common medications, especially in older adults. The compounds in pine nuts may interact unpredictably with blood pressure medicines, cholesterol-lowering statins, and antidepressants. The result? Spikes or drops in blood pressure, mood instability, slower heart rate, or even confusion. And here's the kicker. Most doctors don't routinely ask about pine nuts. Florence's doctor didn't. He nearly missed it until a nutritionist flagged it during a dietary review. That's when the pieces came together. Metallic taste, reduced appetite, dizziness, fall risk, medication, instability. Still, the trouble didn't stop there. Pine nuts are rich in polyunsaturated fats, which oxidize quickly, especially if they're stored improperly or sit too long on a shelf. Once oxidized, they generate harmful free radicals inside the body. These toxic compounds target delicate tissues, your brain, arteries, and joints. Seniors who consume rancid pine nuts may experience fogginess, worsening arthritis, or slower reaction times. And for those with swallowing difficulties common in people over 65 due to dry mouth, weak jaw muscles, or neurological decline, pine nuts present a choking risk. Small, slippery, and often eaten quickly, they can easily get lodged in the throat. One cough during book club could have turned tragic for Florence. So what did she do? She stopped the pesto, but not the joy of cooking. She switched to using pumpkin seeds pepitas instead. Still green, still smooth, and far safer for her. Her nutritionist also helped her rotate other nuts with a better safety profile. Within a month, Florence's appetite returned. So did her energy. Her speech was fluid again. No more falls, no more confusion. The joy in her kitchen and her book club was restored. The lesson: not every health threat roars like a lion. Some whisper like a pine nut. Florence's story is far from rare. In fact, it's becoming increasingly common as more seniors seek out gourmet ingredients without realizing how their metabolism and medication profiles have changed. So if you're over 60 on medication or experiencing strange changes in taste, mood, or balance, it may not be aging. It might be something smaller, something you sprinkle over salad or blend into sauce. So now we ask, if a tiny pine nut can interfere with your brain, your balance, and your appetite, what could restore all of that? What nut can nourish your bones, muscles, and mood at the same time? Let's move to the next chapter. Almonds, the builder of bones and muscles. You're about to meet the nut that gives your legs and life a second wind. Number 1, almonds, the builder of bones and muscles. What if I told you that a small brown nut could quietly reinforce your bones, fuel your muscles, and smooth out your digestion, all without fanfare or flash? Meet Paul, 70, a retired postal worker from Missoula, Montana. He's sturdy, practical, and still hikes the foothills behind his home, though less often than before. A year ago, he slipped on a patch of ice and fractured his hip. That moment changed everything. Doc said it was a simple fall, Paul recalled, but it didn't feel simple when I couldn't walk without a cane for months. That fracture. It wasn't just bad luck. It was a sign of weakened bones, a common condition that sneaks up on seniors, especially men who often overlook it. And after months of rehab, Paul was ready to fight back. Enter almonds. His dietitian introduced them slowly, a handful a day. No fancy smoothies, no strict rules, just a daily dose of this ancient quiet warrior. Why almonds? Because they are loaded with calcium and magnesium, 2 minerals essential for bone strength. But here's the catch: calcium on its own doesn't build bones. It needs magnesium to be properly absorbed and delivered to the places your body needs it most: your hips, your spine, your legs. Almonds have both in a natural ratio. Paul had been drinking milk for years thinking it was enough. But without enough magnesium, most of that calcium never reached his bones. Almonds changed that, but the benefits didn't stop at bones. Almonds are packed with plant-based protein and healthy fats, the kind that build lean muscle, the same muscle Paul needed to regain stability. Avoid future falls and confidently hike again. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass. It's called sarcopenia, and it affects nearly every adult over 60 to some degree. The consequences: slower steps, weaker grip, reduced ability to get out of chairs or climb stairs. But protein, especially from a high-quality source like almonds, can slow or even reverse this loss. Paul noticed it within months. His arms felt stronger, and his legs didn't tremble after short walks. And there's more. Almonds contain fiber, which promotes digestion and prevents bloating, an issue that plagued Paul during his recovery. As his digestive system improved, so did his appetite, energy, and sleep. And while we're talking about energy, let's not forget the heart. Almonds are rich in monounsaturated fats, the kind that lower bad cholesterol, LDL, and raise good cholesterol, HDL. These fats also help reduce artery stiffness and improve blood flow, essential for seniors trying to keep their heart healthy and their legs moving. Paul's cardiologist was surprised to see improvement in his cholesterol numbers without medication changes. "Whatever you're doing," she said, "keep it up." But perhaps most surprisingly, almonds also protect the mind. Tucked inside the brown skin of each almond are powerful antioxidants, including vitamin E, which helps fight oxidative stress, a major contributor to age-related cognitive decline. Paul said he didn't feel sharper overnight, but his daughter noticed he was quicker with names, and his crossword puzzles sat unfinished far less often. Now let's be clear, almonds aren't magic. They're food, but food is powerful when used correctly, especially when used consistently. Paul now eats 20 to 23 almonds a day, the equivalent of 1 ounce. Sometimes plain, sometimes roasted, never salted. He carries a small tin in his truck. It's become part of his rhythm. I don't miss the protein bars, he chuckled. These give me what I need and they don't come with a barcode. And that's what this chapter is about: strength you can feel, nourishment you can trust. When your bones feel brittle, when your legs tremble a little too often, when your grip isn't what it used to be, your body may be calling for help. Almonds might be part of the answer. So next time you reach into your pantry, ask yourself, is what I'm eating helping me stand taller, move better, and live longer? Because when almonds support your bones and muscles, they don't just build strength, they build freedom. But even strength needs guidance. Stability alone isn't enough. What about the most delicate part of your body? The part that holds your memories, your words, your very identity. Let's move forward to the nut-shaped, like the organ it protects. Up next, walnuts, the brain's natural defense. Number 2, walnuts, the brain's natural defense. Take a look at a walnut. Now really look. Those folds, those curves, they mirror something we all rely on, something we all fear losing: the human brain. And perhaps nature knew what it was doing? Because walnuts are one of the most powerful brain protective foods available, especially for seniors. Meet Helen. She's 74, a retired school teacher from Salem, Oregon. For decades, Helen's mind was her compass. She could recite poetry from memory, remember her students' birthdays, and solve crossword puzzles in ink. But recently, things changed. I kept calling my granddaughter by my daughter's name. Helen shared quietly. I'd walk into a room and forget why I went there. It scared me. Helen wasn't alone. Millions of older adults experience mild cognitive impairment, MCI, a stage between normal aging and conditions like Alzheimer's. For some, it remains stable. For others, it progresses. Desperate to regain control, Helen started researching. She wanted to fight back gently but with purpose. That's when she found walnuts. And what she discovered amazed her. Walnuts are uniquely rich in alpha-linolenic acid, ALAA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. ALA helps keep the membranes of brain cells pliable, fluid, and responsive, essential for memory, reasoning, and reaction time. But ALA is only the beginning. Walnuts also contain polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that can cross the blood-brain barrier. These compounds reduce neuroinflammation, the hidden flame behind many forms of mental decline. In multiple studies, older adults who consumed walnuts regularly showed better cognitive performance, slower memory loss, and even lower risk of depression. For Helen, the change was slow but steady. She began eating a handful of walnuts every morning, sometimes on yogurt, sometimes plain. Within a few weeks, she noticed her focus returning. Her energy lifted. Her sleep improved. But the most touching moment, her granddaughter walked in, and Helen greeted her by name without pause. "It may sound small," she said, tearing up, "but that moment told me I'm still here." Walnuts didn't cure Helen's memory lapses, but they helped her fight back. They gave her confidence, routine, and hope. And the brain isn't the only part that benefits. Walnuts are rich in arginine, an amino acid that boosts nitric oxide production, enhancing blood flow to the muscles and brain. Better circulation means quicker reaction times, steadier gait, and fewer falls. Helen's balance improved. Her physical therapist even commented on her posture. She hadn't changed her exercise, only her snack. And as her brain and body healed, so did her sleep. Walnuts naturally contain melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep cycles. For seniors struggling with insomnia, walnuts offer a gentle, natural way to reset internal rhythms. Helen slept more deeply and woke feeling clear. She began journaling again. Her poems returned, and with them, her sense of self. And here's something else walnuts are easy to enjoy. No special prep, no chewing hazards. They're soft enough for aging teeth, yet crunchy enough to satisfy. So why don't more seniors include walnuts in their daily life? Sometimes it's misinformation. Some fear the fat. But these are healthy fats, the kind that nourish, not harm. Sometimes it's a habit. We don't reach for what we don't know. But one small bowl of walnuts a day, just 1 ounce, can gently reshape brain health for the better. For Helen, that once was everything. It was clear. It was poetry. It was a presence. As she said, I may not remember every word, but I remember who I am. So now we ask, what if your snack could become your safeguard? What if a simple walnut could help you walk steadier, think sharper, and sleep deeper? Because sometimes the most powerful medicine doesn't come in a bottle, it comes in a shell. And while walnuts protect the mind, there's another nut that guards the rhythm of life itself. Your heartbeat, your eyesight, and your freedom to move. Let's meet the final hero of our journey, pistachios. The heartbeat of mobility. Number 3, pistachios. The heartbeat of mobility. For many seniors, freedom means something simple. The ability to walk across the room without pain, drive to the store, or bend down to hug a grandchild. It's not about running marathons. It's about moving freely, confidently, independently. That's why 69-year-old Carl from San Luis Obispo, California was worried. I noticed I was getting slower, he said. Going up the stairs winded me. I had to hold the railing tighter. My eyes felt a little dimmer. And sometimes I'd just sit. Not because I was tired, but because it was easier than moving. Carl wasn't out of shape. He was careful with food, took his meds, walked the dog twice a day, but he was missing something small and green. His cardiologist had told him, your blood pressure is creeping up, your circulation is sluggish. And then his wife added, you seem a little more distant lately. That's when Carl discovered pistachios. Bright green on the inside, soft purple on the outside pistachios are among the most heart-healthy nuts available. But their benefits extend far beyond the heart. They help support movement clarity and even vision. Let's start with the heart. Pistachios are rich in potassium, a mineral that helps balance the effects of sodium and gently lowers blood pressure. For seniors, managing blood pressure is crucial not only for heart health, but for reducing the risk of stroke, kidney damage, and even cognitive decline. Carl added a handful of pistachios to his morning yogurt, just 1 ounce a day. 3 weeks later, his blood pressure dropped by 5 points. His doctor smiled. Keep it up. But pistachios don't stop at blood pressure. They're also high in lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids that protect the macula, the part of the eye responsible for sharp central vision. For seniors facing age-related macular degeneration, pistachios offer quiet protection. Carl didn't know the science, but he felt the difference. His reading glasses weren't working as hard. He stopped squinting during the evening news. But maybe the most overlooked benefit of pistachios, they bring movement back into the hands. The simple act of cracking open each shell improves fine motor skills, something we often lose as we age. That subtle twist, that tiny press, it's like physical therapy in snack form. And because they take longer to eat, pistachios encourage mindful snacking. Carl stopped inhaling chips, he savored his snack, and as a result, his weight steadied, his joints felt less pressure, and his steps felt lighter. Let's not forget pistachios are also packed with protein and fiber, which help stabilize blood sugar, a vital concern for the nearly 1 in 4 Americans over 65 living with diabetes. Carl's numbers improved, his energy returned, and his legs. They carried him further and steadier than they had in years. There's a reason pistachios are called the smiling nut in some cultures. Crack one open, and it looks like a grin. Maybe it's a hint Because when you add pistachios to your life, your body thanks you in kind. But Carl's story isn't just about blood flow or vision or snacks. It's about regaining joy. He now keeps a bowl of pistachios near his recliner. Not just for himself, but for his grandkids who love cracking them open with him. It's become a ritual, a quiet way of staying connected, engaged, present. And sometimes, that's the most powerful medicine of all. So if you're looking for one simple, beautiful change to support your mobility, protect your eyes, strengthen your heart, and reconnect with your body, reach for pistachios. Let your hands work. Let your eyes see. Let your feet carry you. And let your heart beat strong, steady, and smiling. Because after all we've learned in this journey, from avoiding silent dangers like peanuts and cashews, to embracing healing allies like almonds and walnuts, the path to strength in later life is not about extremes. It's about everyday choices, small decisions, repeated daily, a bite here, a swap there. Together they shape your strength, your clarity, your independence. So as we close this 6-part journey, remember your body still listens to you. Your food still matters. Your years ahead can still be vibrant. Choose wisely. Live boldly. Walk freely. We're with you every step of the way.